You're standing on that lot right now, keys in your hand, staring at a hybrid badge, and somebody in a clean shirt just told you it'll run forever. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll cost you $6,000 before you hit 100,000 miles. Here's the truth. I've learned the hard way. One of these three brands builds a hybrid that outlives the loan and shames the gas engines. One of them built a system so flawed I watched it drain wallets in my bay for years, and the third one sits right in the middle, hiding a trap most buyers never see until the tow truck shows up. I've spent decades under the hood, and I've had every one of these systems apart on my lift. Toyota, Honda, Hyundai. I've held the dead battery packs. I've smelled the burnt inverters. I know which one I'd bet my own money on. Stick with me, because near the end, I'm going to hand you one overlooked hybrid that carries a lifetime battery warranty most people don't even know exist, and it quietly outlasts cars that cost twice as much, whether you're buying new, buying used, or you already own one of these three sitting in your driveway right now. This is going to save you real money. Let me start with the one that burned the most people I ever met. Back when hybrids were still new and shiny, everybody wanted the little Honda that sipped fuel like a scooter, the Honda Civic Hybrid. On paper, it was brilliant. In my bay, it became one of the saddest repeat customers I ever had. The problem lived in the years 2006 through 2011. Honda called their setup Integrated Motor Assist. Mechanics like me just called it a headache. It was a thin electric motor sandwiched between the engine and the transmission, paired with a nickel battery pack riding behind the back seat. That battery was the killer. I watched them fail again and again, usually somewhere between 80,000 and 120,000 miles. And here's the part that made owners furious. Honda didn't just let the battery die quiet. They pushed out a software update that changed how the whole car behaved. Let me tell you what that update actually did, because I lived through the phone calls. Instead of replacing weak battery packs, that software made the car lean harder on the little gas engine to hide the dying battery. Owners came in swearing their fuel economy fell off a cliff overnight. They weren't crazy. The car they bought for 40 plus miles a gallon was suddenly barely cracking 30. The update protected the battery from total failure by quietly stealing the very thing people paid extra for. And when that pack finally gave up completely, a replacement ran $2,000 to well over $3,000 once you counted the labor on a car that by then was maybe worth $4,000 or $5,000 on a good day. I sat across from more than one owner and watched them do the math and just shake their head. They were upside down on a repair before they even started. Here's what almost nobody told them at the dealer. That IMA system couldn't drive the car on electric power alone. It was what we call a mild hybrid. The electric motor only assisted the gas engine. So when the battery died, you didn't just lose efficiency. You lost the assist, the car got sluggish, and it threw a dash full of warning lights that would fail you at inspection time in a lot of states. So what do you do with this? If you're looking at a used Honda Civic Hybrid from that 2006 to 2011 stretch, I want you to walk up to it cold and start it. Watch the battery charge gauge on the dash. If it swings from empty to full in seconds and jumps around like it can't make up its mind, that pack is on its way out. Ask for records of a battery replacement. If it's never been done and the car has over 100,000 miles, you are buying somebody else's problem. Now here's the twist, and this is the part I need you to hear. Honda learned. They didn't stay broken. The company that built that frustrating little system eventually built one of the best hybrid setups on the road today. But to understand why the new ones are good, you have to understand who profited from the old ones staying quiet. Because somebody made money on you not knowing this. And it wasn't just Honda. Let me take you to the second brand, because this one fooled a lot of smart buyers. Hyundai came into the hybrid game swinging hard. They priced their hybrids lower, they loaded them with features, and they slapped a warranty on the window that looked bulletproof. The Sonata Hybrid, the Tucson Hybrid, the Santa Fe Hybrid, beautiful cars to sit in, loaded with screens and heated everything. And I'll be honest with you, the idea behind Hyundai's hybrid is actually smart. Instead of the rubber band feel of a continuously variable transmission that most hybrids use, Hyundai kept a real 6-speed automatic and tucked the electric motor inside it. It drives like a normal car. A lot of my customers love that feel. But here's where the story turns dark, and it doesn't start with the hybrid parts at all. It starts with the engine Hyundai was building during those same years. You've maybe heard whispers about Hyundai and Kia engines failing. That reputation was earned. Their Theta 2 engine family, the 2.4 liter and the 2.0 turbo, had a manufacturing problem where metal debris left over from the factory machining would clog the oil passages. That starved the engine bearings of oil. The result was catastrophic engine failure, sometimes complete seizure, sometimes an engine fire. This got so bad it triggered recalls covering millions of vehicles and a settlement that made national news. Now, the hybrids used a different, more refined version of these engines, and Hyundai will tell you the hybrid engines were better protected. Fair enough. But I'll tell you what I saw roll into my bay. I saw the trust problem. I saw owners who bought a Sonata hybrid terrified every time the oil light flickered because they'd heard the horror stories about the family of engines under that hood. And I saw real failures, too. The kind where an engine that should run past 200,000 miles gave up at 90. There's a second trap in the Hyundai hybrids that's sneakier. That electric motor lives inside the transmission. Remember that clever design I praised? Well, when things go wrong in there, you're not replacing a simple part. You're often into the transmission and the hybrid motor as a unit. I've seen those repair estimates climb past $4,000 fast. And the clutch that connects the electric motor to the engine can shudder and wear, giving you a jerky, hesitating launch that drove owners crazy. Here's the takeaway. If you're eyeing a used Hyundai hybrid, first, and I mean this, get the recall history run on that exact vehicle by its VIN before you sign anything. If the engine recall work and the software updates haven't been completed, walk away or make them do it in writing. Second, on your test drive, accelerate hard from a dead stop. If you feel a shudder or a hesitation right as it launches, that hybrid clutch is talking to you and it's not saying anything good. Now, Hyundai did one thing that genuinely protects buyers, and I'll give them full credit for it later because it ties directly into the overlooked gem I promised you. But first, I have to answer the question you're probably yelling at your screen right now. If Honda burned people and Hyundai carries that engine cloud, then Toyota's the safe bet, right? Just buy the Toyota and stop worrying. Slow down, because even the king has a skeleton in the closet. And if you buy the wrong year, it'll cost you. Here's where I have to stop being polite about something. For decades, the folks selling these cars have leaned on reputation instead of telling you the specifics. A brand builds one great decade, and the marketing machine coasts on that name for 20 more years, selling you the badge instead of the actual car in front of you. Nobody at the counter is going to tell you that the exact model year you're looking at had a known defect. That's not their job. Their job is to move the unit off the lot and sell you a warranty on top. And that warranty upsell, that's the tell. When somebody pushes hard on an extended warranty for a hybrid that's supposedly bulletproof, ask yourself why. They've seen the repair data. They know what breaks and when. They're betting they'll collect more in warranty premiums than they'll pay out in repairs. The house doesn't offer you a bet it expects to lose. So let me be the guy who actually tells you the specifics on Toyota, because I love these cars, and that's exactly why I won't lie about them. Toyota's hybrid system is the gold standard, and I'll say that in front of anybody. They call it the hybrid synergy drive. It uses 2 electric motors and a clever set of gears with no traditional transmission to wear out, no belt, no clutch to shudder. It's beautifully simple in the ways that matter. I've torn into Toyota hybrids with 250,000 miles on the original battery, still doing its job. That's not a fluke. That's engineering. But here's the buried truth. The Toyota Prius from roughly 2010 through 2015, the third generation with the 4-cylinder engine coded 2ZRFXE, had a real problem, and it wasn't the hybrid parts. It was the engine burning oil and blowing head gaskets. Let me explain what I saw. These engines would start consuming oil, sometimes a quart every 1,000 miles or less, and the owner would have no idea because there's no smoke and the car runs smooth. They'd go their normal 5,000 miles between changes. The oil level would drop dangerously low, and the engine would run hot and starve. Then the head gasket would let go. I'd get a car towed in overheating, and the bill to do that head gasket properly, machine the head, and fix the damage could run $2,500 to over $3,000. There was a technical service bulletin on the oil consumption. Toyota knew the fix in some cases involved new pistons and rings, which is deep engine surgery, but plenty of these cars aged out of warranty before the owner ever realized what was happening, and they got stuck with the bill. So even with the best hybrid system on earth, the year matters. And this is exactly where knowing the specifics stops being a nice idea and starts being real money in your pocket. Think about what you're really up against here. 3 brands, a dozen engine families, and a whole shelf of model years that each hide their own trap. You can't hold all of that in your head standing on a lot with keys in your hand. That's exactly why I put everything I've learned into a collection called the Complete Lemon Proof Bundle. Inside, Buy Right hands you the brand rankings built on repair records instead of ad budgets, plus the exact engines and transmissions to avoid listed out by model year and family. Deep Reliability shows you how to read that technical service bulletin on the Prius oil burning the way a safety engineer would, and how to decode the class action settlement record so a proven lemon can't sneak past you. The engine family tree lays out why one bad platform like that Theta 2 can poison a dozen different models, and you don't have to take my word for any of it. Tonight, for free, pull up the NHTSA complaint site, punch in that third-generation Prius, and read the oil consumption reports piling up right there in black and white, exactly the kind of documented data every volume is built on. The fastest way to get the books is to scan the QR code right there on your screen, or go to the link in the description or the pinned comment. And here's the honest reason to grab it now, not someday. Your next car payment is coming whether you're ready or not, and the wrong year costs you thousands you'll never get back. Now, with that in your back pocket, let me turn to somebody specific, because I know you're out there watching this with a knot in your stomach. Maybe you already own one of these. Maybe you bought the Civic Hybrid or the Sonata Hybrid or that third-gen Prius, and everything I just said landed like a punch. You're sitting there thinking it's too late for you. It's not. This next part is for you, and I want you to actually do it, not just nod along. If you own any hybrid, the single most important thing you can do costs you nothing but a few minutes, and almost nobody does it. You need to keep that hybrid battery cool and breathing. On the Prius, the Camry Hybrid, and most of these cars, there's a battery cooling fan and an air intake vent, usually behind or under the rear seat or in the trunk area. Over the years, that vent clogs with dust, pet hair, crumbs, whatever lives in your back seat. When it clogs, the battery runs hot. Heat is what kills these packs faster than anything else on the planet. Find that vent. Look in your owner's manual for the hybrid battery cooling intake. Pull the little cover, and you'll often find a filter or a screen caked in gray fuzz. Vacuum it out. Do it twice a year. I've genuinely seen this simple habit add years to a battery's life. The people whose packs die at 90,000 miles, a lot of them never knew that vent existed. The ones running strong at 200,000, their battery could breathe. Second thing, and this one's for the Honda IMA owners specifically, if your battery gauge is swinging wild and your mileage has tanked, there's a chance the individual cells inside the pack are just imbalanced, not fully dead. There are shops that do a battery reconditioning, cycling, and balancing the pack for a few $100s instead of a few thousand for a full replacement. It doesn't always work, but on a car that's only worth so much, it's worth a phone call before you spend $3,000. Third, for everybody, change your oil on the short interval, not the long one. The manual lets you stretch to, especially on that oil-burning Toyota engine and anything from Hyundai. Cheap oil changes are the cheapest insurance you will ever buy against a $5,000 engine. I've said it 10,000 times in my bay, and I'll say it to you now. The oil change you skip is the engine you replace. And one more, because it matters. Drive the thing, hybrid that sits for weeks, lets its high-voltage battery sit at a low charge, and that's hard on it. If you've got a hybrid, you only drive occasionally, take it out for a good half-hour run at least once a week. These systems want to be used. Now that you know how to protect what you've got, let me pull all three brands together because you came here for a ranking, and I'm going to give you the honest one. The worst hybrid setup of the three for long-term ownership was that old Honda integrated motor assist system in the 2006 to 2011 Civic Hybrid. The dying battery, the software that stole your mileage to hide it, and the fact that you couldn't even limp along on electric alone, that one broke the most hearts I saw. The riskiest sitting in the middle is Hyundai. When they're good, they're genuinely pleasant, and they drive like a normal car. But that engine reputation is real. The in-transmission hybrid motor gets expensive when it fails, and you are absolutely rolling the dice on which specific vehicle you get. Buy one with a clean recall record and full service history, and you might do great. Buy one blind, and you might not. And the best, the one I'd put my own family in, is Toyota. Not because it's perfect, because it isn't. And I just showed you the Prius head gasket trap, but because when Toyota's hybrid system is running right, it's the most durable, simplest, longest living setup of the three by a wide margin. The batteries last. The drivetrain has almost nothing to wear out. I've seen them go and go and go. But here's the thing. If I stopped right there, I'd be giving you the same lazy answer the whole internet gives you. Just buy the Toyota. That's not why you're still here. Because the real gem, the one I promised you at the start, isn't the obvious Prius everybody already knows about. It's something quieter, cheaper, and it comes with a piece of protection so good that once you know about it, you'll wonder why nobody ever says it out loud. Let me tell you what I found and where it comes from. Remember when I said Hyundai did one genuinely great thing? Here it is. Hyundai and Kia put a lifetime hybrid battery warranty on their hybrid vehicles for the original owner. Not 8 years, not 10 years, lifetime for as long as that first owner keeps the car. That is the single most generous piece of protection on the whole hybrid battery question, and the marketing machines barely whisper it because a confident warranty admits the part can fail. Now here's how you turn that into a weapon in your favor. There's a specific Hyundai hybrid that almost nobody talks about, and it quietly does something remarkable. The Hyundai Ioniq, not the newer electric Ioniq 5 you see everywhere now. I mean, the original Ioniq hybrid hatchback they sold from about 2017 through 2022. Here's why it's the buried treasure. That car was built to go head-to-head with the Prius, and in real-world fuel economy, the Ioniq Blue trim was rated up around 58 miles per gallon combined, which actually beat the Prius on paper. It used a smaller, simpler engine than the troubled Theta family. It's light. It's cheap to buy used now because nobody's fighting over them, and every one of them carries that battery protection for the original owner. And here's the confirmation that this isn't just my opinion. When you dig into the large dependability studies, the ones that track problems per vehicle over the first few years, Hyundai's actual reliability scores climbed hard in the late 2010s and started landing near the top of the industry, right up alongside the brands everyone assumes are untouchable. The reputation lagged years behind the reality. The cars got good before the public gave them credit, and that gap is exactly where a smart buyer finds a bargain. So think about what that means for you. The truth was sitting there the whole time. A hybrid that sips less fuel than the famous one, costs less to buy because the badge doesn't have the hype, and carries battery protection the famous one doesn't. But the reputation machine kept selling you the name brand answer because that's the one with the marketing budget behind it. One honest look at the actual dependability data and the actual warranty terms tells a completely different story. And now you've got it. Let me be straight with you, though, because I won't oversell even a car I like. The Ioniq isn't as roomy as some, and if you're the original owner, is where that lifetime battery magic lives. So buying one used means you'd get the standard hybrid warranty period instead, which is still solid but not lifetime. That's exactly the kind of detail the counter won't volunteer. So if you want that lifetime protection, you buy it new, or you buy the newest low-mile one you can as a first owner from a dealer, and you keep it. Here's how I'd play the whole thing if I were shopping this weekend with my own cash. If I wanted the absolute longest-lasting, do-nothing, drive-it-into-the-ground hybrid, and I didn't care about the badge on the trunk, I'd find a Toyota hybrid from 2017 or newer, a Camry hybrid or later Prius past that head gasket era, and I'd never think about it again. That 2.5 liter Camry hybrid engine, coated A25A, cleaned up the oil burning problems of the old motor, and that car is a tank. If I wanted maximum fuel savings and the best warranty for the money, and I was buying new or nearly new as the first owner, I'd take a hard look at that Ioniq and enjoy laughing at the gas pump while everybody else paid a premium for the name. And if somebody handed me a Honda Hybrid built in the last several years, the newer two-motor system in the Accord Hybrid or the CR-V Hybrid, I'd tell you Honda genuinely fixed their sins. That new setup is excellent, smooth, and reliable. The company that burned people with the old IMA built something they should be proud of now. Just stay far away from that 2006 to 2011 IMA Civic Hybrid unless the battery's already been replaced and you're getting it for pennies. Let me leave you with the thing that matters more than any single model. Every one of these traps has the same root. Somebody was betting you wouldn't check the specifics. They were betting you'd trust the badge, skip the VIN recall check, ignore the oil consumption question, and never learn that a clogged battery vent kills a pack early. The whole game runs on you not knowing. You just stop being that person. You didn't come here to be sold. You came here because you refused to be the guy standing in a repair shop parking lot doing math on a car that isn't worth the fix. That instinct that told you to look before you leap, that's the right one. Trust it. You already know what to do now. Check the year, check the VIN, pull the dipstick, vacuum that battery vent, and never let a clean shirt tell you a whole brand is bulletproof when the truth lives in the specific car in front of you. Now I want to hear from you, and I read these. Which one are you looking at? Or which one's already in your driveway? Are you sitting on that third generation Prius wondering about the head gasket? Did you get burned by an old Civic Hybrid battery? Are you eyeing a Sonata Hybrid and now you're going to run that recall check? Drop it in the comments right now and tell me what you drive and what part of the country you're watching from. I want to know if that Hyundai engine luck runs different in the Salt Belt states than it does down south. If this saved you from even one bad buy, then you're one of us. This is a whole crowd of drivers who flat out refuse to get burned, who'd rather spend 10 minutes checking than $10,000 fixing. Stick around, because next time I'm pulling the covers off the hybrid SUVs everybody's rushing to buy right now, and there's one popular one with a hybrid system so complicated that when it fails, the repair costs more than some people paid for their last whole car. You're going to want to know its name before you sign anything. I'll see you there. And that's the overview, but there's a whole layer I couldn't fit here. Inside my membership, the Garage Bench Club, you can ask me your own question, and I answer you myself, not a robot. Car buyers just like you are already in there with me. Just point your phone's camera at the code on your screen. Cancel anytime with one click. Come on in. Now, if you're thinking a hybrid's the way to go, wait until you see this next one. I'll show you 5 brands that beat Toyota and cost far less to fix. It's starting right here.